when we moved in here, we live on the end unit. So we have a corner unit. So our kitchen doesn't have a window. All the other units have, like, the kitchen goes out vertically, kind of follows suit with the living room. So it goes out to where the windows are. But because we live in the corner unit, we don't have that. So our kitchen is a U shape in the middle of our apartment. But that means we also don't have like a real dining room space. So technically this is our dining room, but we have this peninsula here, so we don't really need a dining room table. And with it being a pandemic, my husband has to work from home. So this is his desk area. I'll show you the befores and of what it used to look like. What I'm gonna create today is something similar to this shelving unit that we created. So with this type of wood detailing along the back wall, along the wall where there is green, and then there's going to be a shelf on the one side to hide some of his stuff that he needs on his desk when he is working or when he's just doing his crafts. This board here is going to be his desktop. This is his original desk that we had there, but it's too wide. It's 24 inches. So this new board is going to be 20 inches. So it's going to save a little bit on space. And we're gonna paint this whole space a different color, but I'm gonna build the desk first and then I will paint later. But this is basically what we're doing today. We have this tiny little nook area and we're only gonna be building like along from this wall to the fridge here. So this is the design that I drew up to create this desk space in between the fridge and the wall. Along the back we have all of those pieces of wood separated by 1.5 inches, and then we have the shelf closest to the fridge, and then I wanted to use the wood on the top, or sorry, the wood to cover the front of the shelf as well, so you can kind of hide stuff in there. This is all the wood that I bought. This is the size of the space that we have, and the bottom of our desk is going to kind of have a lip on it to make it easier to attach the legs in the end. So these pieces that I'm cutting are framing lumber, and it was actually, if you live in Canada, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It was actually cheaper to get the framing lumber over normal pine pieces of 1x2s than it was to just get a pine piece 1x2 that's 6 feet long. So these pieces are actually 8 feet long. So we have to cut them to 6 feet because that's how long I want them. And we don't have 8-foot ceilings in here, so it wouldn't work anyways if they were 8 feet. So I'm just marking them, measuring it with a measuring tape, marking each piece individually, making sure that it's 6 feet, and then cutting it with the jigsaw. And don't forget to clamp your piece down so that it stays in one place when you are working with the jigsaw. Now these pieces that we're cutting off, these 2-foot pieces, are going to be used for the shelving unit and the support of the bottom of the desk. Just to give you a better idea, I will show you what I mean in this video. So we have all of the 6-foot pieces cut for the back and then the front of the shelf. I've just got them lined up here. Now this piece of wood is gonna be the desktop, so I have to cut that and then build a base for it with legs. Because we didn't buy legs, we're just gonna use, we have some 2x2s over here that are gonna be the legs, and then we're gonna build the base out of these 1x2s and some of our scraps from here, but these will also be used for the shelving parts. So I'm gonna measure this area and then cut the desktop so that I can start building or measuring and cutting the framework for the desktop. This piece of wood is just a pine shelf from Home Depot. It was about $70 for the size, so we got a 72 by 60, or sorry, 72 by 20. And we couldn't get, I wanted to buy a different, cheaper wood. I didn't want plywood, so that kind of made our budget go up a little bit, but I couldn't get the wood that I wanted in a 20-inch wide piece. So this is what we had to get. And this one is pine too. Just taking the wrapping off. So I'm gonna measure this area here. Move this a little way. Turn it over. So it's pretty much gonna go from this wall over here to, I think I'm gonna do 58 inches just to leave a little bit of a gap for our pieces. You can go past, go through here. These legs. Okay. So for this piece, this 2x2, these are going to be the legs and the part of the base for this part. So I'm going to measure how tall this is. I'm going to measure how tall this current desk is and how tall these legs are so that I can make this match so that they can be screwed in into the corner pieces here after I build the base around the tabletop. So this leg sits at about 29 inches. So then these will be cut into 2 pieces. I need 4 legs. 29 inches. And this is kind of garbage, that's kind of garbage. So 29 inches. And then what I have left over is 37 inches. Probably not going to be anything. I'm going to lay this piece down here, and then these pieces are gonna butt up like this. So then it will be like this on either side. Better than that. And then I'm just gonna screw in from the top here. I'm gonna wood glue it down and then screw it in from the top. And then the legs, which are over here, are basically gonna sit in the corner like this on all four corners so that they're inset so that I can still build the shelf by the fridge there. So for the legs, I built kind of this rectangular thing that would be easier to attach the legs into. So you can see me screwing the legs into it. We actually ended up turning the legs the other way and screwing them in from the top. So the two pieces were in the top. You'll see that at the end when I show the final clips, but that just made the desk a little bit more sturdy. We are going to go and buy legs when things open up again. This is just a temporary fix, but if you know a better way to make legs, please do it your way. Please don't follow my video on my DIY leg. So we had just placed the desk in the spot to make sure that it fit. Again, the legs are not attached here. So I'm just moving it away because we need to attach those back pieces, which are not structural by any means. They're basically decoration on the back of the desk and to make it a little bit more interesting and fit in with our aesthetic. So as you can see, the legs kind of are on a tilt. This is before I decided to change them around and make it a little bit more sturdy. So I'm just getting ready to put the 1x2s on the back of the desk. We just screwed it directly into the back of the desk, and that's kind of why we built the frame on the bottom of the desk, not only to attach the legs, but to also attach the 1x2s. We spaced these by using a 1x2 in the center of them. It is a lot easier to get them straight and put into the back of the desk if you are going to do this, to have a second person there to help you to hold it straight. As you can see, they're not laying straight right now because we are only putting one screw in. So when we put the top on and get everything straightened up once the desk is in place, you'll see what I mean. Also, we're struggling a little bit with the wood that Home Depot provided us. Unfortunately, we couldn't pick our own wood, and so things were a little bit warped, and we needed to work with that because I was not going to buy more wood for this desk. So we have it in place here. I have to put up a piece at the top to help stop it diagonaling up here. And then the shelf, we're gonna build out of the extra 1x2s that I have. So these 5 pieces that are sitting here are gonna come across the front, kind of like this. And then the shelf, I'm gonna build a shelf out of these 1x2s that are gonna be, it's gonna be 12 inches. And then it's just gonna sit on the desk here and go up. So I took the extra pieces that we had left over from cutting the 6-foot boards to the back of the unit, and I cut them down to 12 inches to make sure that I could make the shelf and the framing of the shelf fit within the 5 pieces that I had left and the top that I had left to put on. The extra piece from the desk that I had left to put on top to continue the shelf. So I'm just cutting all the pieces here and getting them ready for the shelf. So I'm not sure that I actually filmed me putting the shelf together, but basically I built a ladder-like unit, and then I put a top on and a middle piece on to create the shelf. Here I'm just putting on a piece of wood on the bottom to hold those wood pieces on the back straight, and a piece of wood on the top to hold that piece straight as well. I think this desk turned out way better than I could have hoped for. It hides things that you don't necessarily need all the time away in the shelf that you've built, and you have enough desk space to be able to work while you're sitting there. There are things that I would change about it, one of those things being the legs. Going forward, we are going to replace them. And I haven't painted the wall, so the wall is still green behind it.